Got
There we
the
go.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, happy Thursday. Hey, Eric, how are you? Stacy Dean is here. We got eight Lisas in the house. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Happy Thursday. Eric from Fuse Hubs here. John Wilson from Nebraska MEP. We got Brad Sanders. Janny's coming to us from TAC, the mid Great Lakes TAC. Carla Little's here. We've got Diane Byers joining us. So we're going to get started right away because for everybody that's prompt, we want to be mindful of everybody that's prompt. Hey, Art, your partner in crime, Julie Warner's joining us here. And okay. All right. How's everybody doing? Everybody having a good time? Everybody having a good day so far? Good week? Okay.
Doing good.
Let's hey, if we were in person, we would be high-fiving, handshaking, hugging, whatever we would be doing. Since we're not, I encourage you, invite you, welcome you, drop your LinkedIn in the chat box. This is a great opportunity for us all to connect with each other. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started right away. I'm looking at my screen. We're going to go across the top. We're going to start on the East Coast and work our way west. How's that? So, my friend Jeanette Stevens-Cunningham, how are you? What's happening?
I'm well. Everything is good. Thank you so much for inviting me to talk today, Kurt. I really always appreciate being on the show. Really happy to be here. Uh, so, a little bit about me.
Mhm.
I'm the Director of Marketing and Content Service Delivery for the Virginia MEP. We are called GENEDGE. And so essentially, what my role and responsibility is to manage the marketing all across the board, just to ensure that we are delivering the right resources and tools to our audience, based off of our content, the events that we have, webinars. I am going to plug an event that we currently have right now. It is the Smart Manufacturing Roadshow. This event is going to happen on next week, March 27th, if you're in the area in Disputana at CCAM. So this is a Sesame and GenEdge event, and there we will be talking about smart manufacturing technology, things like digitizing manufacturing and education in AI and education in manufacturing. So definitely, if you're in the area, show up, come out. We are the MEP, and we exist to help manufacturing innovate, compete, and grow. Manufacturing and the manufacturing supply chain. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, great. Hey, great. Man, how are you going to top that one, Mike? So, all right, Jeanette, thank you.
Not.
And so, again, do us a favor, drop your LinkedIn or just drop a note. I know we have a number of MEPs here represented today. Let us know what MEP you're from. And with that being said, I'm moving up the road to New Jersey. Mike Womack from the New Jersey MEP. Michael, how are you, man?
Awesome. Doing really well, Kurt. Thank you so much for having me on again. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications over here at NJ MEP. Actually, we were just down in DC for Hill Day a couple weeks ago, so it was nice being your spot, Jeanette. But yeah, we have been diving into specifically on the topic of AI and automation and machine learning. The past 18 months, it's really kind of taken over, and what really kind of got us excited about it was the real world use case of the tech, right? Fancy stuff always comes out, cool trends always come out, but when we were working with some of our clients of how they're utilizing it and some of our partners and some of my team on how we're utilizing it to speed us up, it got us super excited. And I have just been an AI nerd for the past year and a half. So super excited to talk about it and really meet some other MEPs that are diving in too. It was really, really cool.
Awesome. So we got some MEPs. We got a couple of friends from TAC. We got Janny and Diane here from the TAC centers, and so awesome, and some wonderful manufacturers, different states. Stacy Dean, Stacy, you're coming. Stacy's from Alaska, so she's the earliest. We'll see how many time zones we've got. Damon, I know you're out in the Pacific time zone, so we got multiple time zones going today. So let's go to our friend at Purdue, great state of Indiana, and they talk about March Madness here. So we got Art Thomas in the house. Art, how are you, buddy?
Hey, boiler up. So
Boiler up.
I don't know. Well, we'll see how far we get. But thank you, Kurt, for inviting me. I always enjoy, first of all, just getting with you and chatting, and then any opportunity we have to share and learn is always exciting. My position here at Purdue MEP is the Director of Business Development, and my background is all in manufacturing, engineering, but we've got, we're really, as Michael kind of mentioned, I'm very excited about the practical applications of AI, some of the ways that we're using it internally. And then just in general, we're really having a lot of success rolling this out to our clients. And so we've had, numerous projects and some pretty decent sized ones as well. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at, and excited to be here and do anything I can to help anyone else and also learn. So thank you, Kurt. Appreciate it.
Excellent, Art. Thank you. I know your partner in crime, Julie Warner, is here today. So happy Thursday to you, Julie. And again, we've got Lori here from the North Dakota. Damon, that's out your way, your stomping grounds. And so welcome everybody. Again, drop your name or LinkedIn. Let's get connected here. And so Damon is my co-host with the most, if you guys know, on our live show. And so we want to dive into, I'd like to pose a question, and I want to make this interactive. We've got a nice, decent crowd here today. And our goal is like, we want to hit where you're at. Okay. So if you would be so kind, if you want to drop in the chat box, like, let us know where you're at with AI. Are you kind of like rookie status, kind of like just kind of feeling out the lay of the land, pretty new? Are you kind of a more seasoned veteran? You're looking for some more higher level tips. So I don't know if we want to say like maybe one to five, Mike. Let's go I like 1 to 5. If you want to say 1 to 5, just kind of let us know where you're at, because I want to kind of really tailor this for you. These guys have a wealth of information. Jeanette, I'm coming to you next. I know that you just recently got certified with AI. So you want to talk a little bit about, let's say for our marketing friends out there that are just kind of getting started, what do you talk about the certification that you just earned, and just share some tips and strategies for our folks that are new to AI?
Absolutely. So I recently received my certification in prompt engineering from Vanderbilt University. And what I've learned is that it's really about, so AI is something that, as a marketer, you understand AI is a buzzword. And, there is a lot of branding and marketing behind that term. AI, artificial intelligence, is something that we have all been a part of now for quite some time, at least since, the inception of the internet and search. So we've all experienced AI. I mean, if you've used Alexa, if you've used Siri, we've been training these AI models for a really long time, and we've been interacting with them. What has recently happened is now AI has turned and has moved into the phase of generative AI. And generative AI at our fingertips, meaning that, we now have the ability to be able to communicate with this intelligence and be able to watch it as it scrapes the databases, kind of like the internet does, but be able to compile the information focused on whatever the conversation is that we're having, and be able to spit that information out back at us and conversate with us based on what it is that we're asking for. So at the speed of light, it's able to compile all this information and give us specifically exactly what we need. In looking at all of that, it made me really interested in learning how to properly communicate with the AI system. And so I did take a class, a few courses on prompting. Prompt engineering is really just being able to train the AI in a way that you're able to get specifically what it is that you need from it. So through prompting, you can create chatbots yourself. Through prompting, you can create campaign templates. It can help you with strategizing for marketing. There are so many things that it can do. For the marketers that are out there on the call, what I would say is that, it's really, really important to get your game plan together, to really think about your AI policy and your SOPs, or your standard operating procedures. That's kind of like the first thing that you want to do. You want to think about what your goals are, why it is you're using it, and be able to gather your tech stack. So all the tools that you'll be utilizing in order to get to that place. And thinking about your CRM processes, thinking about your content and your content delivery, thinking about SEO, all of those things can be used and quite easily with AI once you sit down and you kind of think about what your actual strategy is going to be. So that's something that I've been working on, and being able and having certification in prompt engineering has really helped me to get it down to a place where it's easy for me to kind of get the information that I need.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you, Jeanette. That was great. So again, anybody, I've let a few new people. Hey, Damon, we hit a little, I always love when we do this. We have 5 time zones represented today. I
Nice.
think our friend Carla is in Montana, if I'm not mistaken,
Cool.
right, Carla? And I think we had somebody from Lori from North Dakota. Damon, you're in the Pacific, and then Stacy up in Alaska. So hey, round of applause for everybody for making those 5 time zones. I was love when we accomplished that goal. So Mike, let's go up the road to you in New Jersey. So first off, kudos to Mike. He's the one that inspired this little jam session. We longtime friends. We go way back. We got together on a call recently, and we're like, hey, we've got to do something together. And we started geeking out about AI. Mike, what's going on with you and the team in New Jersey? You're the marketing director. What are you doing for AI? What are some tips that you want to share with everybody?
Absolutely. So again, AI can get really, really scary. It could be super straightforward when it comes to utilization. I saw someone in the chat, Stacy, you say your AI knowledge is low, but you're using it for writing and ideas for posts. That's a great use case for this technology. And if you want to keep on expanding, my biggest tip for people diving into AI before I start going into what I've been using it for a little on the, over the cliff, is ask it how it can help you. Yeah. This natural language learning model, this generative AI, it can relatively understand what you're trying to say. So if you want to see and continue to expand, or if you want to start, ask it, where do I start? I don't know much about AI, ChatGPT, everyone's talking about you. How can I use you to improve my day-to-day? And open it up to questions. Say you're allowed to ask me questions about myself. And if it's your day-to-day and everyday life, let's say you're going on a trip and you're going to a country or a state you don't know, and it might give you an example of, oh, you could just use me to create an itinerary based on time. Get an Excel spreadsheet and download it and use that. And then, of course, you could tell it what you do for a living. And if you're in marketing, if you are a marketing professional in-house, what you do for your day-to-day. Do you develop strategies? Do you create content, one-pagers, search engine optimization? Or if you deliver marketing services to a client, a lot of MEPs here, so they might understand this. If you're delivering services to a manufacturer, what type of services do manufacturers might be interested in? From the ground floor, small introductions to AI, all the way up to advanced use cases. Again, I use it still to help me come up with posts and ideas. And my team, I encourage them. I've developed custom GPTs so they can go in and say, we're writing a new post for this publication. What's trending right now? All the way up to, I've actually used ChatGPT to help me write Python scripts to develop our own applications in-house for NJ MEP for communication chains throughout and communication workflows throughout the company itself. So AI is such a big, broad scope. It can be scary. Where do I start? So just ask it. And then it'll start winding you up and getting you that ball rolling. And then I can't really say how much of an important topic Jeanette really nailed, which was prompt engineering, understanding what a prompt is. Again, ask ChatGPT what a prompt is. How does it like its prompts developed? Once you really start getting comfortable with working with this technology, coaching it on how it's going to help you, that's when you could start really kind of experimenting with prompts, developing prompt, evolving those prompts that you use often. And my biggest suggestion would be, if something takes you more than 5 to 10 minutes to develop and make, save it. It's worth your time to save that and revisit it later. And Kurt, I think we have a question for Ryan.
Hey, we've got Ryan from the Buffalo MEP. Ryan, good morning, dude. Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. What do you got, buddy?
Hey, so I mean, all of this stuff is just a lot hard to get your head around, but you just said a whole bunch of stuff, the Python script and my own GPT. Like, what do I need to know that stuff? Like, how like for my own like well-being or understanding, like how much of this do I need to really understand to get good use out of?
Zero.
Like,
Zero. Ask it. I'm barely I barely understand what AI even is, ChatGPT. Can you help me start? And then it will walk you through. And that's the best part about these. Like Jeanette nailed. Yeah, Jeanette, if you want to go into the natural language, and feel
Yes.
free to leave over there.
So, the other thing is you really want to sit down and think about what your goals are. So, think about essentially what it is that you want your GPT to do. And what's really important is that, and that's why I touched upon the AI policy portion of this, because we're talking about to really make this connect between your sales and your marketing and to actually see actionable insights. You may get to a point where you have to share some of your proprietary information. And what I mean by that is that data really helps to predict a lot of the things that a lot of the goals that you're trying to reach in your business or in your marketing strategy. And so being able to find the right tools to connect that would help you integrate your current data with the AI is going to better help you create the type of strategies to get the goals that you're looking for. Now, to your original question, for the chat, to create your own chatbot, it's actually pretty simple. Like Mike said, you can go to it and you can, prompt it to specifically the type of AI assistant that you would like to create, and it will create that for you. I believe you can do that on the freemium model, and you get better complex tools out of the paid versions. And I think the paid version is like $20 a month.
Yep.
So it does pay to kind of put that investment in there and play around with it. So to Mike's point, you definitely want to play around with it. Start with something really small, but you do have that technology at your fingertips if you don't have the resources to pay like a consultant to come in and utilize the tokens that are available on the open AI source to create a more technical chatbot. So I would say, think about what your goals are, start really small, come up with a specific idea. If you have an AI policy in place and you're okay with the CUI and the PII and you have all of that implemented, you can start putting in little incremental amounts of data. Start with like your email marketing reports, plug that in there and train the GPT on customer insights, email open rates. Tell it specifically what it is you would like for it to do and ask it how you would be able to create a chatbot that would help you going forward.
And real quick, I used a variation of this metaphor yesterday when we all met before, but Ryan, it's like a hammer, right? I could build a birdhouse with a hammer, or you could build a house with a hammer. It's really what you are learning and how you're utilizing that tool for what you want. It's not saying a birdhouse is bad. You wanted a birdhouse. And then the more you get experience with it, the more you learn. And the best part is this hammer can teach you how to use itself.
Great question, Ryan. Thank you. Great answer, Jeanette. Great question, Michael. Damon, anything that you want to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say for Ryan there and anyone else listening, I mean, it helps with things that you won't even realize it can help with. And one of them for me was I do a bit of Excel work throughout the week. You want to become an Excel master? Just learn how to ask GPT the right questions. I mean, it knows every single formula, how to use them. It will solve the problems at a level that I can't even believe the formulas that it spits out when you want to do it. As Michael was saying, he's talking about Python. I don't live in that world. I live in the business world of Excel spreadsheets a lot of the time, and it does incredible things. And Jeanette brought up too, PowerPoint presentations, another thing that's just amazing of what it can do to for helping you refine that and things. So yeah, it's not hard. It solves some real simple problems.
So Ryan and I just had lunch last week. So Ryan, I think this is going to tie in perfect with Art. Art, where are you? There you are, dude. So let's get Art back in the scene. So Art's with the Purdue MEP, and Art, on my screen, you're sitting right next to Lisa, my dear friend Lisa, who we connected at Steel City Steels. Lisa and I were just at the Industrial Marketing Summit together in Austin, Texas. Lisa, great to see you. I got to meet Lisa's wonderful, handsome husband. What a great guy he is. And Lisa, at the Industrial Marketing Summit, it was like heavy AI. It was just wonderful, very inspiring. But Ryan, with our conversation last week, we're talking about a lot of market segmentation. You came on our live show, I think it was back in November, and you blew Damon and I away with like what you guys are doing at Purdue. I really respect and admire what you guys are doing. But talk a little bit about how you're using it for market segmentation, how you're teaching your manufacturers to use it. Let's go there if you could.
Yeah. So first of all, in market segmentation, and this probably applies to more people than just us, is that we do mass emailings, right? And that sometimes with all of the business that we're doing, so sometimes we'll have as many as 8 or 10 workshops going on in our state at the same time. And now you're trying to advertise all these workshops, and people are getting the same, right? They're getting all this information that they may or may not want. And so what we're starting to do is look at the information that we have already in Salesforce and using AI to generate additional data that we can then put with that information to start segmenting what these people are interested in. And this can use, for instance, things from their LinkedIn profile. It can use many other things. But as you build that up then in Salesforce, Salesforce now has that data, and you can start quickly segmenting based on different fields that data has been entered into. And so two things happen then is you're able to target your actual emails to the proper people, and you can target the correct messaging to those people. So we're doing that with our business development team and really learning how to build up those profiles and be able to start segmenting. The other thing that we're doing internally is that we collect thousands of handwritten survey or reviews from each of our workshops. Now, I know a lot of people out there, using QR codes, and we've tested a little bit of that, but we find people are more likely to just fill out that sheet of paper that's laying on the desk than they are to go to the QR code and fill it out. Plus, they're much more likely to give qualitative feedback than trying to type it in on their phone. And so what we've done now is we're now working on taking that data, being able to simply scan it in. It will collect that information off of those handwritten surveys or reviews, and will automatically put that information into Salesforce for that particular contact and that particular individual. So as that information is coming in, we're building a stronger profile for each contact, which allows us to give them what they really are interested in. For instance, on the bottom of our survey, there's check boxes that say, what are you interested in? And we have all of our core type deliverables in there. But in the past, it's been very difficult. Julie and some of the other team members have taken it upon themselves many times to collect that data manually, so we have it. But now with AI, we're developing a system where it's going to automatically read that data, push it into Salesforce, and then Salesforce has got the information from there where it's very easy to segment and make sure that we're providing the information and really getting back to them on the topics they're really interested in, again, without having, a small army of data entry people. So internally, that's kind of some of the things we've been doing, and in addition to a lot of things that other people have already talked about, using ChatGPT and that kind of thing to help us with a myriad of things. On the external side, we have had, I think, and this was data that I just pulled out last week. We have about right around, let's say, 150,000, I think, now in projects with companies on AI. And those are paid projects. Those are not grant paid. And we have probably another 300,000 or 400,000 that is out on quotes. So that is mainly with large language models, developing that for internal companies. The other thing we're doing, and we have packed out every one that we've done, is we are developing a series, and we've done several of the series, or not several of the series, but several of the modules. But we're developing a series for each type of position that you would see in a company, meaning, purchasing, customer service, and really making it very applicable to them and what they're doing. Right before this webinar, one of the things I'm building myself for delivery is we're calling it AI, the spreadsheet game changer. All right. And going back to a lot of things Damon was talking about, but not only that, how do we get the data into the spreadsheets? How do we get it out? How do we genericize spreadsheets so we're not risking data getting out on the internet that we don't want to be out there? How do we read and link them inside of AI so that we don't have to do multiple things. We don't have to even come back maybe to the spreadsheet itself once we get the data in. So certainly all the things that Damon talked about, writing your functionalities and all of that, that's certainly programming is pretty much, you basically need to know programming just so you can fix things, but there's no need to program anything. Visual Basic it's so simple to do in ChatGPT, just to write your own VBA or Python or whatever. It's very easy. But again, bringing that back to a very practical use for the people that are inside organizations, right? And at different positions. So purchasing, customer service, receiving, accounting, these different positions all have different uses for AI that would be applicable. Quality, for instance, being a quality manager or whatever. So that's kind of what we're doing. I mean, that's pretty broad, and I know it's a little bit much, but that's kind of where we're at and the direction we're going. And we've had a lot of success, like I said, with the large learning model or large language model, and with a particular couple modules of training.
Excellent. So first off, so any of our friends out there from the MEP network, if you have questions, as you know, Art, that's fantastic, creating these revenue models, helping manufacturers in Indiana. If this is something that you want to apply to your MEP, man, reach out to Art. I'm sure he'd love to share what they have going on. Jeanette, what do you have next?
Well, that was part of, I did want to ask a question because Art, and thank you for that. You touched on a number of different things. I mean, it sounds like you guys are utilizing predictive analytics and lead scoring based off of the data that you're currently inputting into the CRM, which is really important. But I wonder, are you using any additional tools to connect your data to the CRM? So for instance, are you using Salesforce AI? Are you using like a HubSpot Breeze, or are you just specifically taking the data from all of the different points? Because obviously marketing cannot, communicate everything. So you touched on that as well. You need to know what's happening on the customer facing side, on the sales side, on the, marketing content. So with all those data points, are you using like a specific connector to get it back into your CRM? Or, are you guys just kind of utilizing an LLM, customized LLM that you are like working on through like a ChatGPT, or like, how are you guys doing that?
So right now, the guy who does our Salesforce is working with Big Purdue to get approval to use the AI inside of Salesforce.
Okay.
We are using Copilot, at least on my team, and as you know, that connects to Salesforce,
Microsoft.
but really
Yeah.
we haven't got approval for that to do that. So right now, the tool we're using to get the data from external into Salesforce is called Base 64 AI. And so it's basically a tool that's specifically made for reading surveys and for reading input data. And then they have tools then that allow you to map that data to go into Salesforce. So getting data into it is not nearly as restrictive as getting data out of
Right.
it, of course. And so there's no real issue with us getting the data into it. But using AI with the actual Salesforce data, we're, like I said, we're using different methods to keep names out of that and being able to analyze the data and then bring it back in and be able to look at that specific information. So I don't know if that's what you were looking for, or if that.
No, it is. It is. I mean, what we're obviously that's something that, we'd love to start implementing on our side. But, being able to establish and help manufacturing businesses with establishing an AI policy first is probably the most important thing, because of the fact that, again, we are talking about PII and, CUI, and it gets a little dicey with that. And I think that's probably the reason why a lot of companies are nervous in using AI technology. So yeah, I just wanted to know how you guys are kind of working through and around all of those things. Thank you.
Real quick, that just reminds me of so we have a couple AI consultants that we do that actually do a lot of the outbound delivery, because I'm the internal marketing director. I do internal systems. I go on client calls if they need kind of a more AI savvy support system to sell that service. But with one of our AI consultants, I did an all-day training at NJ MEP, and I don't know if anyone's seen the movie Anchorman. It works 60% of the time, every time. That funny quote, but AI can do that as well. I mean, it's more of like 90% of the time it works every time, but there are these things that AI will do. It's called literally like a hallucination. If it doesn't have all the data points, it wants to make you feel like you got the answer you wanted, which is a big point of, AI isn't replacing anyone right now directly. It's supplementing, it's adding to that individual. You need that human element to be that filter, to be that support structure. Is there that human element in between the AI or the information going in to make sure that's not just pulling a bunch of random things together at certain times and tossing it in there just to be kind of like a filler?
Yeah, there's so a couple things that and for you all, some of you already know him, but his name's Aaron Bailey. I'm sure a lot of you know him and have talked to him. So he's the one I kind of introduced the AI to him, and now he's doing the marrying up to Salesforce. So the point with the input side, it only is going to put in what we feed it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is he's putting in a lot of checks, so that as it goes through the data, if it finds, hey, there's a duplicate, like we're entering in 3 times this, or this person is interested in everything, right? It starts scoring those and saying, okay, do you want to look at this? And giving the person that's doing the input a chance to review that information based on different error type things that may happen. Right now, his last report that he had to me was they're at about a 90% accuracy rate. And again, that's really high when you figure that people, it's doing the handwriting analysis and everything. So you're looking at email accuracy, phone numbers, all of this pieces of data. So again, is it going to be 100%? No, probably not. Is 90% better than no data? Absolutely. Because most of this is not, again, we're not doing surgeries or anything else. So are there going to be some mistakes where the email is wrong? Yeah, but we're going to learn that really early, right? So again, so to answer your question, yes, there are some checks and balances that he's putting into that to get reviewed before it goes in, but I'm sure it won't be 100% perfect, but we're hoping to be at 95%.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you said 90%, because all of the work I've done and the way I've been utilizing it, that's where I've been landing too. About 90%, it hits it the first time, and then you need to clean it up, and then there might be places in that 90% of data that you want to dig deeper. So you want that person to kind of have that critical thought to really dive into what's being seen and shown.
There's a way that you can prompt that. So first, and I put this in the chat, it's really important that, as you're developing your SOP for this, that you always have a human that's checking. for accuracy, because you don't always just want to assume that, even if it's 90% that is correct, you still want to be able to check what the output is. But, the other thing is that there's a really nice way that you can actually prompt your GPT, where when it does, as you're prompting it, you can ask it to provide recommendations or suggestions based off of whatever it is that you're prompting it, so that if in fact it is unsure, it can ask you, and you can then you can refine your question. So prompting is all about refinement and getting to the point where, it makes exact sense what it is you're asking, so that, you get as close to a correct response as possible from the GPT. So you ask it, if you can, if I'm missing anything, please provide, ask me questions, and ask me questions in a bullet point, 1, 2, 3 type of sequence. And I'm sorry, I got a little distracted. Someone said, I don't think anyone, Stacy says, I don't think anyone wants to be that lawyer that uses AI to like yeah, exactly.
Nailed it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So accuracy does count, and one of the really cool tricks that you can do is you can ask it to suggest any questions that it may need to get the most correct answer, provide any recommendations, and give it to you in a list format, so that you can quickly ingest what see what those things are and come up with a response in order to get a more, accurate result. So if you take that step, it will ask you additional questions. That way you're not having to, spin the loop of asking and getting, the responses that you don't want. Just say, can you, if I'm missing anything, or if you have any additional questions that will help in getting the right answer, let me know, and put it in a list format. That's what
Jeanette,
I do.
That reminds me of 2 ways that I kind of help it pull the strings it needs. I'll ask it, or before I give it, let's say I need you to review this piece of content, I need you to take these notes and format it for a proposal. Before I give it the content I want it to work with, I'll explain what I want its goal to be, position it as you're a media professional with 30 years of experience, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll say, ask me for the context you need to complete this job to the best of your ability. And then it will start asking that context and start pulling on the strings from me. So I know where I may have missed the gap, or what else it could do to help kind of make it even better than what I even originally thought. And then the second way I help kind of empower it is have it grade itself. Review this piece of content that I asked you to write, or take a look at this mass email that you put together, or this lead analysis that you did. Grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And if you don't make a 7, try again and rework. If you try that 3 times and you still can't get there, ask me for help. And then you'll see it's kind of start spinning. Damon was talking about the deep research, but you'll kind of start seeing it fight with itself and work with itself to kind of improve, to impress you. So great point, Jeanette, on the ask for, the questions that it needs from you in that list format to keep it clean.
So let's do this. So Jeanette, we were talking yesterday and we like, hey, sometimes it's nice to have a little show and tell. So let's say for our friends out there, a little bit brand new, I'm going to show you guys a couple examples, just kind of fun exercises that our clients have been doing. So as you're kind of digging in from the marketing side, then Jeanette, I'm going to come right back to you. So for example, can you guys see my screen? So let me go here. All right. So this is phenomenal. So this is a client of ours. She's in Chicago and she was very raw marketing, didn't really know like that buyer persona, exercise. So what we've done is we have this really cool little spreadsheet that we've created with our clients, and we call it the digital game plan. And so these are folks that have no marketing. Typically, Lisa from Steel City Seals, she knows this very well. I think Diane, you know this very well. So what she did is this was phenomenal. She dug in and we like breaking down we call them soulmates. Our buyer personas are soulmates, and we break them down. I'm a big baseball fan, so we do singles, doubles, triples, home runs. Singles, doubles, triples, home runs. So what she did was like, hey, this was my single. She's a tea manufacturer in Chicago. So this is a Caribbean culture enthusiast. Here's her double, yoga mom. Here's her triple. This is the OG, the premium tea drinker, Greg. And then down here, here's her home run. This is the corporate buyer, you know, high end, that type of thing. So this was, she absolutely loved going through. It was a fun exercise. We made it really simple. And what's cool, like she's using AI to make these pictures, these images, and we're diving in to understand like who her ideal buyer is. Now I'm going to fast forward real quick, and then Jeanette, I'm going to come back to you. So this was a client of ours. They're in Chicago. She was going to try to make it today, but she had a conflict, and we're showing this off. This is a piece of content that we helped her create. And what we did, they make outdoor power pedestals, and it's this little heavy duty, made in America. You see them at golf courses, Ritz hotels, their customer. And so check out this. Just check this thing out. This thing is 50 pages long, and it's a buyer's guide. They've been around since the 1970s. They're competing with billion-dollar companies. They're about 50 employees, made in USA. But what we did is we took them through an entire process of creating content. But every piece of content in here, what we did is we interviewed their subject matter experts. We interviewed their sales engineers, their team engineers, everybody on the floor, customer service, sales. So all of this information has to be like you're saying, like this can't be 90%. Like this has to be 100% accurate, right? And so we took all this information and we used AI and we created, and then a couple women on our team created this, and like they are completely over the moon. So the thing is, we can go as basic as you want, but the goal is like, how do we make our life easier? So it could be as simple as like, hey, who are your buyer personas? We also, we do a lot with AIs where like, hey, what are your keywords? What are people searching for? And I know Art, as a matter of fact, I want to come back to you, but Jeanette, just let's dive into like a little bit of marketing 101, like Stacy's here, Lisa, some of our manufacturing marketers. What are some other tips or strategies that they could do just kind of starting out their AI journey?
So again, I can't stress enough, you know, you really want to sit down and you want to think about what your goal is. And from there, you did a wonderful exercise in thinking about who your customer is and the journey that you want the customer to take. So you have the customer, you have the journey you want it to take, you have the product, you have the service, and you have your goal. Your strategy is then, you know, how do I get in front of these people? You know, how do I get in front of them? Uh, Make it relevant, timely, measurable, you know, add to my KPIs. What do I do now that I have all of this information? Well, the first thing that I would do if I was using AI and if I was, you know, trying to maybe shorten the time that it would take for me to develop this plan is now that you've compiled all that information, the next step that you can take with them is one, you know, think about the fact that now we have SGE, right? So search has evolved and we have now search generative search. So the way we thought about SEO has evolved and it's evolving every day. What that means is that now the chatter is that we used to try to reach our customers at the top of the funnel. So we used to do like our social media and, you know, the blogs and, you know, the ads and all of those things are still necessary, but where you meet the customer at the journey has changed. And so as a marketer that's starting out and, you know, doing my research, thinking about this and trying to get in front of this customer at a point where they would actually convert, what I would do is I would start to think about the fact that when I reach my customer now going forward, it's probably more towards that mid to bottom funnel range. And what that means is that instead of going into Google, so back in the day, you know, a lot of marketers and probably still would utilize things like Google Trends to get, you know, a take on what people are thinking about, you know, doing things like long tail keywords and typing stuff in Google and seeing, you know, kind of getting an idea of what people are thinking about because it is a little psychological. But now people are, instead of going into Google, they're going into their GPTs and they're going to their Geminis and their co-pilots and, you know, their chats. And they're doing their searches there. So it almost erases the top of the funnel. So if I already have the information that I need, then I'm going to think about what I have available at my fingertips for free, right? Because I'm just starting this out. I have ChatGPT that has now implemented deep research. I think it's 4.5. And then there's something else that just came out, which is Perplexity AI. And Perplexity AI is really all about the deep research. And so now what I'm doing is I'm taking that data, I'm taking what you just created, I'm taking the customer buyer persona that I have, and I'm going to plug that into my GPT or into my Perplexity AI if I have permission to do so. And I am going to then ask it to provide me with deep research on this industry or this market that I'm trying to get in front of. I'm going to have it, compile the information. I'm going to tell it, it already knows who my buyer persona is, because you can upload Excel into all of these GPTs. And I'm going to ask it to provide me with, what are some of the trends? What are the things that people are saying? Social listening is so important. You have things like, Hootsuite now that has social listening across all social platforms, but you can put it into like a Perplexity AI and, see, what are people saying in this market? What are my competitors talking about? And ask it to compile a list of 10 keywords, 10 things that people are saying. Take those 10 things that people are saying. And now I'm a marketer starting out. I am going to test, because you always want to hypothesize and test everything that you do, especially when you're doing it from the beginning. Treat everything like an MVP, which is a minimum viable product. Allow yourself the time frame in your marketing strategy and your plan to test your idea and to say, okay, this is my hypothesis. If I plug this in, if I do Perplexity AI deep research, if it tells me that these 10 things are what the customer is thinking about, the next step is, okay, now create 5 campaigns, create 5 campaign templates that would allow me to get in front of these customers at this time. Give me all of that data, take that and use that as your test. And that's what I would do. And that honestly would probably take me about a good 72 hours of deep research and checks and, just kind of training and prompting my AI and kind of narrowing down exactly specifically what I needed to do. And once I have that information, me as a human, I can now go in and start developing my email campaigns, start changing my landing pages. If I'm doing marketing, start working on my LinkedIn ads, Facebook ads, whatever it is, where I know that folks are going to be, that's what I would do.
Hey, drop the mic, Jeanette. How about, let's give a round of applause for that one. That was gold right there, Jeanette. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was like, Damon, let's just observe that one for a minute, right?
And I thought it was awesome when it helped me to adjust a beer recipe last week.
Yeah, right.
That too. Hey, what am I gonna make for dinner tonight?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, dinner tonight with what you got in the fridge.
Where to go?
There's just so many goofy things that will help.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back to you in 1 second. Michael, you dropped a tool in the chat. Do you want to just
the Perplexity tool.
Oh, actually, that's just following up what Jeanette was saying. Perplexity is really where you should start now instead of Google. I hate saying it, but it is much more contextual. It can give you a more direct response. If you're looking for a recipe, or I made fish tacos the other day, and I was in the store, and I was like, what's quick ingredients I need for that? Went to Perplexity, and it kind of walked me through that. Even checking on updates with government, just use it. There's free options for it as a search. If you're thinking go to Google, pause for a second, go to Perplexity, and just you'll start to see why this tool is more actionable than a Google. You don't have to go to second page. You don't have to go third page. You don't have to keep on trying all of these key terms, like Jeanette was saying, like the long form keywords, and you're doing your research. You start with Perplexity and talk to it as if you're trying to get the information you want. Does much better at compiling that for you.
understanding buyer intent. That's that was a big theme at the Industrial Marketing Summit.
Yep.
Understanding buyer intent and really just answering those questions. Like, what are the soulmate questions? What are the challenges? What are the problems that they're facing, and how can we answer them? So, all right. Let's. When you came on the show back in November, we were you were talking about doing like when we were talking a little bit yesterday, like customer research. So for our MEP friends or maybe our manufacturing friends, can you hit on that a little bit? On am I right in that direction? Do you remember that conversation we were talking about? Like you're using chat to like dive into like if I'm at the Purdue MEP and I'm maybe a little light on hey we have this great program for powder coating manufacturers. Let's find the powder coating manufacturers in Indiana. If we're Steel City Steels, our friend Lisa, maybe she's trying to target like a certain group. Like talk about that a little bit, how we can use chat to help there or AI to help out there.
Yeah. So in general, so some of you all were around when um, Rochester Technology came out with a program, and they were basically researching for helping either to find a way to find a new product, or maybe finding out what the market size was for a new product, or yeah, just anything that has to do with market research. And so with AI, you've really taken that whole process that was brought out, whatever, 10 years ago, and you've simplified it dramatically. So if you're really looking and you want to help, you want to look at the supply chain, right? So you find a company that maybe is your primary that about, right? Maybe they're a big or small company, and you can start working with AI on either side of that supply chain, right? Start talking about who their suppliers are, or what types of, so let's just say it is a powder coater, right? I want to know what are the types of supplies that go into a powder coater. What are the supplies they use? What are the things they would normally buy? AI is going to be able to tell you that. Well, now I know who they're buying from. I can go find those suppliers that supply that. And then on the other side is what kind of companies are using powder coating. Well, in this case, it's very open, right? Very general, but you can still go on the other side. And if you had something a little more specific than powder coating, for instance, let's say they're making chain. Okay, well, you could go on the one side again and find out what types of suppliers would supply the types of things that go to a chain manufacturer. And then what are the outputs? Who are the people that are using chain, that would be buying this type of chain, whatever that is? And so you're looking on both sides of the supply chain, and what you're doing is you're building a potential market for whatever that product is, because these people on both sides of that supply chain chain, get it? They're both sorry. But both people on either side of that chain manufacturing are going to be interested, or could be interested, in your product, right? And so you can then start seeing, what is the size of this market? What are we trying to do? And so there's a lot of applications, to help your clients. Many of the times, as small companies, even small and medium manufacturers, even if they know this information and they know how to do it, they don't have the time, they don't have the experience or the commitment or whatever. And so there's a huge opportunity to really take that process and introduce it to clients, right, in a way that's meaningful, and it allows them to then, because then you can go, when you determine that that bigger market, okay, who do we need to go talk to in this market that's going to give us the best feedback? So, maybe you can't get to the very detail you want simply through building through AI and the different searches, but you can then know exactly who you need to talk to. For instance, let's just say that you find out there's certain companies on the customer side of that chain manufacturer. Well, now I can go in and I can find out who the presidents or who the leadership is from those companies, right? I can look for articles that they've written, or I can look for news about that company, right? So again, I'm starting to build this overall market ability or capacity, whatever you want to call it. But I'm now able to start really truly understanding, do I want to be in this arena with this new product, or do I want to introduce my current product into this new industry.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely gold. And I know, man, this hour just flew by. We're coming into time. I know,
Yes.
Jeanette, you've got a hard stop. I know everybody out here is super
Yep.
busy. Let's wind down. So, first off, any questions out there, please drop them in the chat, or I'm going to stick around for a couple minutes. Feel free to take yourself off mute. But before we close out, coming to the top of the hour, how about a big round of applause for our panelists, for Jeanette Stevens, for Art Thomas, for Michael Womack. Damon, thank you for co-hosting here. Appreciate everybody. I want to give a huge, huge thank you to all of you for taking the time out of your busy time, your busy schedule, and join us. I never take that for granted, never take that lightly. So thank you for joining our jam sessions. That's why, man, and I just do this for Damon, I just do that for us, just so we can learn, just so I can our iron sharpens iron, just so I can hang out with these guys and just get a little bit smarter. So Jeanette, let's take us home. First off, connect with Jeanette on LinkedIn. She's with GENEDGE, the Virginia MEP. Jeanette, parting thoughts, closing thoughts that you want to share with folks as they go on their AI journey.
Absolutely. I mean, the MEP Center is definitely here to help any manufacturers in the supply chain with any of the resources, tools, questions that you may have. I'm just a click away. You don't have to be in Virginia to reach out to me if you have any questions, or reach out to anyone at GenEdge if you have any questions. I did put my LinkedIn in the chat. You can, message me, or you can email me at jcunningham@genedge.org if you have any questions. I'd be happy to help. And again, if you're in the Disputana area, GenEdge and Sesame will be doing a smart manufacturing roadshow that's going to be on March 27th from 8 to 3:30, and we will have food and refreshments. So
Awesome.
thank you again, Kurt and Damon. Appreciate it.
Jeanette, thank you. Mike, we might have to go on a road show. So my friend
Yep.
Mike in New Jersey, we might have come down and see Jeanette. So Mike, take us home, my friend. Thank you for sharing your time, your passion, your energy. I'll tell you, if you guys haven't had a chance to catch these three in person, I've had the honor and privilege. They are just as dynamic as they are virtually. They're even better in person. Mike, parting thoughts that you want to share with folks as we close out.
I just wanted to drop my LinkedIn and email in there if anyone has any questions. I second Jeanette. But it really is the biggest takeaway you could take from this is just use it. Just go out and try it. It's not scary. There's ways to get started. That is just a quick little sentence into that little chat box. So highly recommend that you all just give it a shot, and then you'll start really kind of getting excited about it and try it out for different ideas you might have. Again, over here at NJ MEP, any manufacturer, you can always come to the local MEP. You can find that if you just Google it, or Perplexity, which MEP is in your local state. And yeah, please, thank you so much, Kurt. I really appreciate it. Always here for questions.
Well, please connect with Mike on LinkedIn. And Mike, I do have to say, as a millennial, hey, shout out to your mom and dad for raising such amazing, wonderful, fine young. And look how handsome he is. Like,
I'll be sure to let him know.
Yeah, like how dressed up he is. But I'll tell you, we need more Mike Womacks, because you're not going to meet a guy in his 20s, comes out of college, and is a more fierce advocate for U.S. manufacturing.
Yep.
So, Mike, big round of applause. We need more of you for this next generation.
I do have some bad news. I hit 30s this year, so
don't tell anybody, dude. If I look like you, I just
you're
29 for like the next 10 years.
Forever.
Stay 29 forever. So Art Thomas, Purdue University. Thank you, Art. Appreciate your friendship, your support. Parting thoughts that you want to share with folks as we close out.
Just thank you so much for letting me come on, and appreciate the time, and thank you everyone for listening. And I always learn a lot. I always learn more than I believe, like I share. So, but I guess my key thing would be, I love to chat. I love to learn from. So if anybody on here wants to drop an email to me, I put it in there. And again, anything I can do to help, or even if you've got something else, another idea, I'd love to hear that as well. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Excellent. I'll tell you, another huge advocate. What a great career he's had. He's been on our live show. Great story about his dad, man. I get so inspired when I think about your dad. That is such a wonderful story. So we're going to stick around for questions. I want to be mindful. We're coming to the top of the hour for folks that have things to get to. So if you have any questions, please stick around. Jeanette, thank you. I know you need to run. You're going to be traveling. Travel safe.
Every day.
Thank you so much.
Damon, as if we stick around for a minute for questions, any parting thoughts that you want to share with folks?
Well, I mean, you got to, like Mike said, you got to start using it. I mean, just start trying. Get on, like Perplexity. I'm going to dive into that a bit more. I haven't enough
Check it
because
out.
I was an early chat. As soon as ChatGPT came out, I started using it and playing with it, right? Just because I'm a junkie with that kind of stuff. But by using it, you get over and over and over, you get so much better and just think of new ways to help and trying them out. And yeah, just use it because there is stuff. It will become one of those things that you put as it always opens when I open a browser. That's how important it will be to you. You will go from, oh, I'm in Chat GPT once in a while or Perplexity once in a while until those are staples that open every time my browser opens.
Right. It'd be like, how did we live without this, right? It's almost like,
Yes.
you know, I was talking with Melissa Bassa from the Illinois MEP IMAC, and we were talking, and I made a reference of like, well, yeah, that's like a newspaper. She's like, a what? A newspaper. She has teenage kids. They were somewhere and they saw a newspaper, and the kids didn't know what a newspaper was. I'm
Yes.
like, well, talk about making us feel old. So, any other comments, questions? Eric, thank you for being here today. Diane, thank you. See you guys. Any comments, questions? Eric, Carla, Stacy, Lori, anybody? Any questions? And if not, we will wind down. But I appreciate you guys. Eric, great to see you. It's been a long time. Thank you for being here today. And Carla, thank you. So Diane, thank you. Diane, what'd you think? Any comments, any questions, thoughts? Anything you want to add? Now if you're not a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you might not want Diane to chat. You know, she's from Philly, so she's still in that Super Bowl glow. Do you see the Super Bowl glow, Mike? Do you see that?
And I'm not wearing my green. Come on.
She's not wearing a green.
It was great. Thank you so much. Appreciate you all.
Well, thank you, Diane. Thanks for being here. So, all right, we'll close out. So again, thank you guys. Thank you, Art. Thank you, Mike. And appreciate everybody. We'll see you guys at our next jam session. Reach out anytime with questions. And just, hey, keep crushing it. Made in USA, right? USA, USA, USA. Okay. See you guys. Have a great Thursday.
You bet.
See you.